I've lived in these hills for 40 years now, seen plenty of strange things, but nothing like what happened to Caleb that morning. Caleb was a quiet man, kept to himself mostly. Built that cabin with his own 2 hands after the war. That river was his morning ritual, every dawn without fail. Said it cleared his mind before the day's work began. The mist was thick that morning. October cold had settled into the valley like it meant to stay forever. He saw something in the shallows. Well, at first he thought it was a deer, wounded and struggling in the current. But it wasn't a deer, it was a woman, Cherokee, by her dress, bleeding and barely conscious in that freezing water. Most men around here would have walked away. Trouble with the Cherokee meant trouble with the whole nation. But Caleb wasn't most men, never had been. He waded right in without a moment's hesitation.
Easy now. I've got you. You're safe, I promise you.
No, my people, they will come. You must go. I won't leave you.
I'm not leaving you here to die. Can you hold on to me?
Why would you help me? Your people hate mine.
My cabin isn't far. I'll carry you. Just stay away from me.
He carried her near half a mile through that forest, a wounded Cherokee woman in his arms, broad daylight, marveling at such boldness. Any hunting party could have seen him. Could have killed him on the spot for touching one of their women. But he didn't think about any of that. He just saw someone who needed help. That was Caleb through and through. He laid her by his fire, cleaned her wounds with what little medicine he had, sat up all night watching over her.
The bleeding stopped now. You need to rest, regain your strength.
You dress wounds like a healer. Where did you learn this?
The war taught me. Too many friends bleeding. You learn fast to lose.
You have known loss. I see it behind your eyes now.
What's your name, if you want to tell me, that is?
Aita. It means first to dance. I was born during celebration.
By morning, she was stronger. But they both knew the truth of what was coming for them. See, Aita wasn't just any Cherokee woman. Her father was Running Bear, war chief of the entire wolf clan. And when she didn't come home from her gathering trip, he sent out every warrior he had to find her. 400 Cherokee warriors, painted for war, tearing through that forest, looking for the chief's only daughter. And every trail, every track, every drop of her blood led straight to one place, Caleb's cabin door.
I was there that morning. Rode over to borrow Caleb's axe before sunrise. What I saw will haunt me forever. The ground was shaking. I thought it was thunder at first, or maybe a stampede coming down from the mountains. Then I saw them coming through the tree line. Warriors, hundreds of them, painted for war and death. I wanted to run. God forgive me, I wanted to ride away and pretend I never saw nothing at all. But Caleb just stood there on his porch, calm as Sunday morning, like he'd been expecting them all along. Their war chief rode forward, Running Bear himself. I'd heard stories, but seeing him in person was something else entirely.
White man, you have my daughter. Return her now or die where you stand.
She's alive because I found her. She's healing because I helped her.
You expect me to believe you helped her from kindness alone?
I expect nothing, but I speak only truth to you, Chief. Running Bear could have killed him with one word. 400 arrows would have turned that cabin to splinters. Death hung thick in that morning air.
But then the cabin door opened, and everything changed in a single heartbeat. Everything.
Father, stop! This man saved my life in the river waters.
Aita, you are alive! My child, my heart, you live!
He pulled me from the freezing water, dressed my wounds through the night.
Is this true? You touched my daughter only to heal her?
I found a person dying. I helped her live. That's all I did.
That is not a small thing. That is everything between our peoples.
I watched a war chief kneel before a simple farmer. Kneel, right there in the dirt of Caleb's yard. He took Caleb's hand and called him brother. Brother,
400 warriors watched their chief humble himself in gratitude.
You have given me back my daughter. How can I repay such a debt?
No debt exists. I only did what any good man should do. Then you shame me with your goodness. Come to my village, let us honor you. I don't think that would be wise for anyone, Chief.
But Aida wasn't going to let him refuse. She had that look in her eyes. I know that look now.
Come with us, Caleb. Let my people see who you truly are.
Aita, your people have every reason to distrust me. I understand that.
Then give them a reason to trust, please.
For me, do this.
For you?
I suppose I could try. Just this once.
And just like that, a white farmer rode into the heart of Cherokee territory, surrounded by warriors who wanted him dead hours before. I rode home and told my wife what I'd seen. She didn't believe a word of it until months later. But that was only the beginning of their story. The real tests were still waiting for them both. Because loving someone is easy, but loving someone your whole world says you shouldn't, that takes a different kind of courage entirely.
When the white man rode into our village, I thought the world had finally gone mad. Completely and beautifully mad.
I have lived through many winters, seen treaties made and broken, watched our people suffer at white hands. So when Running Bear brought this stranger among us, I prepared myself to witness another betrayal unfold. But Aita walked beside him, not as captive or hostage, as equal, as something I had never seen before.
The whole village gathered to see this impossible thing, a white man walking freely among 400 warriors.
Koda was the first to challenge him, Aita's brother. Fierce as summer lightning and twice as unpredictable.
You think saving her once makes you worthy to stand here, white man?
I think nothing about worthiness. I'm only here because she asked.
She is my sister, my blood. I would die for her without question.
Then we have something in common already. I'd do the same for anyone I cared about.
Something passed between them in that moment. Not friendship, not yet, but the beginning of understanding between warriors.
Running Bear raised his hand for silence. The whole village obeyed like wind obeying the mountain.
This man saved my daughter's life. He will be honored as friend and guest.
I'm grateful for your welcome, Chief. I'll try to honor your trust.
They gave him a place by the council fire, fed him from our pots, treated him as one of us would be treated. But it was Aita who truly welcomed him. I saw her watching him when she thought no one could see.
You handled my brother well. Most men would have fought back or fled.
Fighting seemed unwise. Running seemed worse. You asked me to come here.
I know, and I'm glad you did.
I wanted them to see you as I have seen you.
A good man.
And what have you seen, Aita?
I see someone who acts before he thinks of cost or danger or reward.
That's not wisdom. That's foolishness. Most people would tell you that.
I watched them talk until the stars wheeled overhead. Two people discovering they were not so different after all.
Koda watched too, from the shadows. His suspicion had not vanished, but something else was growing alongside it.
3 days he stayed among us. 3 days that would change everything for both our peoples, forever. I taught him to grind corn. Aita taught him our words for water, sky, and love. Especially love.
Say it again.
The word for heart.
You almost have it right now.
Your language is harder than breaking wild horses, I swear. When you speak my words, you speak to my heart directly, Caleb.
Then I'll learn every word you have.
Even the impossible ones.
When the time came for him to leave, I saw something I had never expected to witness in all my winters.
Aita asked her father's permission to visit the white man's cabin, to continue learning his ways. Running Bear said yes, and in that single word, two worlds that had been enemies for generations began to build a bridge between them.
I hated him at first. This white man who dared to touch my sister and then walk among us like he belonged. My father called him brother. My sister looked at him like he hung the moon and stars in the sky. So I decided to test him, to prove to everyone that this white man was no different from all the others. I told him the sacred waterfall held medicine herbs that Aita needed, that only a brave man could reach them. It was a lie. The path was dangerous. Men had died attempting that climb before. I expected him to refuse or fail.
But he went, without question or hesitation, because Aita might need something. That was enough for him.
I followed him, told myself I wanted to watch him fail. But something else pulled me up that mountain path.
The path ends here. These herbs you mentioned, where exactly do they grow?
There are no herbs. I lied to you. I wanted you to fail.
I figured that out 2 miles back. The trail was too dangerous for herb gathering. Then why did you keep climbing? You could have turned back, been safe.
Because if I turned back, you'd tell Aita I was a coward. I'd rather die than see that in her eyes.
You would die for how my sister sees you?
That is madness, white man.
He was willing to die rather than disappoint her. I had never seen such devotion from anyone outside our own blood. I told him the truth then. Everything. How I had hoped he would fall. How I wanted to protect my sister from heartbreak.
I would do anything to protect Aita. She is my heart walking outside my body. Then we're the same, Koda. I'd do the same for her now. She's become my heart too. If you ever hurt her, I will kill you myself without hesitation.
If I ever hurt her, I'll hand you the knife and bare my throat. We climbed down that mountain together. Not as enemies, not quite as friends, but as two men who understood each other.
Aita saw the change immediately. She always could read me, like morning sky reading the coming weather.
What did you do to my brother? He looks at you differently now.
I see it. We climbed a mountain together. Discovered we're not so different after all.
You keep surprising everyone around you. Will you ever stop doing that, Caleb?
Not if surprising you keeps you looking at me like that, Aita.
I watched them from the tree line. And for the first time, I saw what my father and the elder had seen from the beginning. This wasn't corruption or weakness or betrayal of our people. This was something our ancestors were recognizing. I went to my father that night, told him I had been wrong, asked him to forgive my blindness and suspicion. He laughed, said he had been waiting for me to see what was always there, plain as sunrise over the mountains.
From that day forward, I called him brother too, and I meant it with every part of my warrior's heart.
I've baked bread for every family in this valley for 20 years. I know everyone's business, their joys, and their sorrows. So when word spread about Caleb and that Cherokee woman, well, you can imagine how the tongue started wagging.
Half the town wanted to run him off his land, said he'd betrayed his own people by laying with the enemy. The other half just shook their heads and minded their own business. Live and let live, that's always been my way.
But Caleb didn't care what any of them thought. He'd walk into town with his head high, buy his supplies, and walk right back out.
Then one Sunday, he did something that silenced every wagging tongue in the whole territory for a solid week. He brought her to church, walked right in the front door, Aita on his arm, and sat down in the third pew like it was the most natural thing in the world. You could have heard a pin drop in that church. Pastor Morrison nearly swallowed his own tongue mid-sermon.
This is Aita. She wanted to understand where I find peace on Sundays.
Your God and my Great Spirit both made this beautiful world together. I heard that meeting lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of a white farmer proving his worth to a war chief who could end his life with a word.
You wish to take my daughter from her people forever? Explain why I should allow this. Not take her, Chief. Join her. I'll learn your ways as she learns mine.
And if my people need her, if her home calls her back to us, then we come together. Your home is her home, so it becomes mine too.
Running Bear gave his blessing that night, embraced Caleb as a true son, not just as his daughter's choice, but as his own. Word spread to both our town and their village. For the first time in living memory, two peoples had a reason to celebrate together.
A wedding was coming. Not just between two people who loved each other, but between two worlds that had been enemies since before anyone could remember.
I have witnessed many ceremonies in my long life, births and deaths, victories and sorrows. But the day Caleb and Aita joined their lives together, the spirits themselves seemed to pause and watch with us. They chose the hilltop where you can see both worlds,
Our village to the east, the white settlement to the west. Both peoples gathered, the Cherokee and settlers, standing together on the same ground. Running Bear stood on one side in full ceremonial dress. The white preacher stood on the other, Bible clutched to his chest like a shield against strangeness.
But when Aita appeared at the edge of the meadow, every difference between us vanished like morning mist before the rising sun.
She wore both traditions, Cherokee ceremonial dress with her mother's beadwork and a crown of wild rye.
Koda walked beside her where her mother would have walked. Her fierce brother transformed into the list of escorts.
Some folks got up and left. Couldn't stay, I suppose. Change comes hard to people set in their ways. But most stayed. Curiosity stronger than hatred, I suppose. Or maybe something better stirring in their hearts. After service, old Mrs. Patterson walked straight up to Aita and took both her hands in hers. I'll never forget what she said. Any woman brave enough to walk into a room full of people who hate her, to be with the man she loves, is welcome at my table any Sunday. That was the day things started to change in our little town. Slowly, but it was real change nonetheless.
Your people are more divided than I expected. Some hearts are so closed.
Give them time. Fear makes people small. Love makes them grow eventually.
Would you give up your people for me? Leave everything behind if they force you?
I'd walk through fire for you, Aita. But I'd rather build bridges than burn them.
Then we build bridges together, your world and mine.
Starting with us, and hopefully not ending with us either, Aita.
He went to Running Bear next, asked permission to marry Aita in the proper Cherokee way before asking the church's blessing. I heard that meeting lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of a white farmer proving his worth to a war chief who could end his life with a word.
You wish to take my daughter from her people forever? Explain why I should allow this. Not take her, Chief. Join her. I'll learn your ways as she learns mine.
And if my people need her, if her home calls her back to us, then we come together. Your home is her home, so it becomes mine too.
Running Bear gave his blessing that night, embraced Caleb as a true son, not just as his daughter's choice, but as his own. Word spread to both our town and their village. For the first time in living memory, two peoples had a reason to celebrate together.
A wedding was coming, not just between two people who loved each other, but between two worlds that had been enemies since before anyone could remember.
I have witnessed many ceremonies in my long life, births and deaths, victories and sorrows. But the day Caleb and Aita joined their lives together, the spirits themselves seemed to pause and watch with us.
They chose the hilltop where you can see both worlds, our village to the east, the white settlement to the west. Both peoples gathered, the Cherokee and settlers, standing together on the same ground.
Running Bear stood on one side in full ceremonial dress. The white preacher stood on the other, Bible clutched to his chest like a shield against strangeness.
But when Aita appeared at the edge of the meadow, every difference between us vanished like morning mist before the rising sun.
She wore both traditions, Cherokee ceremonial dress with her mother's beadwork and a crown of wild rye.
Koda walked beside her where her mother would have walked. Her fierce brother transformed into the list of escorts.
When they kissed, something changed in the world itself. I felt it in my old bones like a...
Both peoples cheered together, Cherokee war cries mixing with settler whoops in a sound I had never heard before and may never hear again. They danced that night. Our dances and their dances. Young warriors voiced the sacred steps. I danced too, old as I am. Danced until my bones ached and my heart.
That was 15 winters ago now. 15 winters since the world began to change because two people chose love over fear.
Their cabin sits now where both peoples can see it, neither on Cherokee land nor settler land, but on the bridge between, where the river runs through.
They had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, each one carrying the best of both peoples in their blood and their spirit.
Sometimes I still can't believe this is my life.
Our family. We built this together, Caleb. Do you ever regret it?
The price we paid, the people we lost.
When visitors come now, both Cherokee and settler, they stop at that cabin first to pay respect. The children call me grandmother, though I share no blood with them. They call many of us grandmother and grandfather now. We are all one family.
They ask me to tell the story sometimes. The children gather round and beg to hear how it all began, that morning at the river.
I tell them about a wounded woman in cold water, about a man who didn't hesitate.
I tell them that love is the only force strong enough to change the world. Not war, not fear, not hatred, only love.
And somewhere on the other side of the river, another story is beginning.
I place Aita's hand in yours now. She carries my heart with her always. Before both our peoples, I choose you, Aita. Today and every day after.
And every day after, choose you, Calvin.
Running Bear spoke the Cherokee blessing while the preacher spoke his Christian words.
May your children carry the wisdom of both peoples in their hearts forever,
Thank you, Father.
for seeing what could be instead of what was.
I promise to honor your people as my own.
To learn your ways with humble heart. And I...
I found her where the water runs to stone, a wounded spirit far from home. Her eyes held secrets older than these hills, a language that my heart could feel.
He carried me from cold and rushing streams, a stranger from my people's dreams.
His hands were rough but gentle as the dawn. I knew my world had shifted on. Where the river runs between your world and mine, two hearts are learning love takes time. 400 came to take me back that day, but one man's kindness made them stay. Where the river runs, we found a way.
They stood like thunder waiting at my door, warriors painted up for war.
But she spoke words that turned their spears to peace, and showed them I meant no deceit.
My father saw the truth within his eyes, a man of honor, no disguise.
The river that once kept our worlds apart
became the bridge between two hearts. Where the river runs between your world and mine, two hearts are learning love takes time. 400 came to take me back that day, but one man's kindness made them stay.
where the river runs. We found a way. They say love speaks no language, but I heard it in his silence, in the way he dressed my wounds and never asked for anything in return. Where the river runs between your world and mine, we built a home where two suns shine. Our children carry both our people's ways.
the future born from those first days.